Welcome, viewers. Welcome to sunny Summit Point for the Round 7 of Tanso Championships, TCR Championship at Summit Point Raceway. So this is round number 7, the penultimate round. The last round is in 2 weeks' time at Watkins Glen. And we're looking down on the end of practice and the start of qualification. And we're going to be looking at some cars hopefully on the grid. I don't think we are actually, because I think someone who's a broadcaster might have joined as a driver again. We might not see that. So we will get the live time and overlay up, and we'll be able to see some times, hopefully as the cars cross car. Luckily, it's quite a short lap here, so we shouldn't be waiting that long. All drivers got to complete a mandatory 3 laps in 10 minutes of qualification, so this should be quite quick. And then we're going to get into 2 20-minute heats, and the second heat, the final, the feature race will be a inverse 12 car grid, I think. And I think we've got a few drivers here today. So without further ado, we'll welcome Mr. Jackson to the booth. Hello, Rob.
Good evening, Rob. How's it going?
I'm a bit distracted today. It's a bit of a busy race, I think. There is some news which we'll come back quite shortly with, but we're just going to see the drivers on the track at the moment. I already see actually we're seeing some sector 3 lap time sets, so we're already going to see some cars complete their first lap, I think. How are you feeling today, Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just apologies to everyone for the little mess up here of me joining as a driver. So yeah, as you're saying, we've got no time showing at the moment yet. No matter what I try, nothing's showing because I joined as a driver. So apologies once again, everyone.
So what's the score on this? Is this 3-1 you joined as a driver and me 1? Yeah, 3 to you, 1 to me. Is this right?
It could be 2-1. I think I did it in season 2 once.
Right.
First time this season for me. So hopefully it's the last.
I heard a rumor as I looked down in the stream already, and Milky is doing his custom wave. But not only is he in the stream, Mr. Jackson, he's in the server. He's back.
He is. Neil has made a triumphant return, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I'm glad to see his little wave still in this chat.
It must be automated. It must be automated. He must have it on like a bot or something, or he's getting the missus to do it. Excellent. So we've not seen Neil Stevenson since round number 1 at Brands Hatch's season. A former champion, someone who's very used to this grid. He's only up to Brands. He hadn't missed a single race in 3 seasons, so he's very welcome to be back. And he celebrated that by going top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, you're right there. He's come through for 15.6, so it's quite a very quick time, that really, isn't it? He's just been pipped to the post by John Brown, who's only 4/100th of a second quicker than him.
John Brown, fortnight ago, got a victory at Okayama in the feature race, I believe. He takes the top. So Neil Stevenson's back in the Hyundai. I don't know which Hyundai it is, but
Neil's in the Veloster. I saw him before.
The one without a boot. The one looks like a little bit like a Civic from a long, long distance away. And top of the leaderboard is the Honda Civic, Mr. Brown. And then third, Craig Waters, he's out there, Audi again. He's back into the Honda. It's free selection every week. You can choose whichever TCR you want. And you can hop in, so you'll never see the drivers in the same car again twice. And saying that, Scott Malcolm back in an Audi, which is a complete difference to a race I saw him in a couple of days ago when he was in a Hyundai, I believe.
Civic. I think he changed over to a Civic, did Scott. He's had a couple of races in that. I know that. But yeah, if he's back in his Audi, I think he's obviously got a bit homesick and decided to go back home. Yeah,
it's like a comfortable shoe for Mr. Malcolm. Also, a returning Hyundai from the same stable as Mr. Stevenson is Mr. Ben Denyer.
Yep, that's right. Ben, he's in the Elantra, so he's gone for the family saloon. So, yeah, it's...
Fit some kids in the back or the boot, either way.
That's the one.
We've not seen Ben since last season in round number 6, I think, at Donny, which is a very popular track amongst the SRL Tanso community. He's got 2 race wins to his name, so this is another guy to look out for. Ben Denyer, he's a fantastic. It would be fantastic around here, I should imagine. Dan Mould goes top, 1:15.53, and Clibbins improves to go 9th position. So we're seeing some guys. I think everyone's on their second lap now. There's this guy called Rob Jackson. He hasn't said a lap, so we'll try not to wait for him. John Brown currently still in second. He hasn't improved, and we're going to see some drivers cross the line for their last lap. Ben Denya's the first one. He goes fourth.
So far, and you've got a second row lockout for the two Ignium lads.
Mark Brown goes fifth position. Seventh, Scott Malcolm with his third lap. Eighth is Andrew McKinley, who we saw have a fantastic debut win in the heat race last season. Last race out. Derek Crowther, I think, has completed his laps and currently ninth position. What's Dan Morgan has set? I can see 2 purples from Dan.
It says so. He's just going to make his gap even bigger up in front.
Yeah, there's no. It doesn't look like there's Callum Reed-Garton here today, who we saw have a couple of DNFs last round, which might have put him down.
Yeah,
the order a little bit.
Sorry, Rob, to interrupt a bit, but I believe last week, last 2 weeks ago, sorry, Callum was actually driving with his paddles, wasn't he? Because he didn't have any pedals.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, he was doing he's got no pedals, his brakes pedals, so maybe he's still suffering hardware failure, and that's why he's not here. Yeah, driving with his paddles. That's proper boss level stuff from Reed Garden. And he's probably faster around that track than I was at the time, which makes it even worse. So we've seen some laps. It looks like we are waiting for Dan Mould. Just going over. This is the first time I've seen Dan actually qualify in a while. He might be a little bit under threat, I think, in the championship. Yes, this last race was his lowest combined finish this season, easily. Maybe a bit of last season as well, I think. So he'll be looking to get himself a little bit further up the leaderboard, I should think.
Yeah, it's last week was a 5th and a 6th place for Dan. So it's not bad that still, is it? Just
yeah, obviously Dan's got higher standards
just at the top 5.
Yeah, and he starts at the back most weeks, which is terrifying. A 5th and a 6th, I'd write postcards if I got those results personally. But amazing, fantastic. Right, Daniel Wareham, currently 7th position. I think he's got a green sector. I don't know if he's going to improve, but he's coming around to cross the line. No, he's still 7th position. And Fraser Garrity looks like he'll come around. We haven't seen Fraser this low for a while, Rob.
No, yeah, Fraser is quite low down there, really, isn't he? Not saying it in a bad way there. But then again, just looking at the past results, round 1 he got 10th and 16th position, and then he's had a 15th in the feature race at Donington, and Knockhill, it wasn't a good one. He was 11th in both races there. Yeah,
so we have just a couple minutes left. This qualification will go through 10 minutes because broadcaster did join as a driver.
No,
I don't know how many times.
In my defence, I clicked, as I just showed on my screen there, I clicked the ready to race button. So
right. Okay, so right. Okay, yeah, this is good. Like you're climbing out of the big hole you dug yourself. Fantastic.
There we go.
I wonder how many laps this is going to go. You know what I would have done? I should have done. The last time we raced Okayama, that was sometime last season, I think. Round number 7, I think. I should have checked to see how many laps we went in 20 minutes, actually, because we had the same format last season. So, it's the same format this season. I should have really good check. Maybe I'll do that at half time. Maybe, but then I'll also know how far we went this time. The good thing about doing the same circuits season after season is you can build up some stats. And if you're a nerd and you like stats, then this is heaven. This is like a sandpit of joy in a desert of wonderfulness.
That's right, Rob. It's I'm just while you were just filling there, I was just going back. It was in season 1, and it was round 4 in season 1, and the feature race was 16 laps long. So looking like a 16-lap race. So yeah, it should be interesting. It's a nice.
Who won the feature race? The season 1.
Season 1 feature race was Ben Denya was the winner.
Denya, wow, there we go. Maybe that's why he's so keen to come back to Summit Point.
That's it.
Because he knows he brings the milkshake to the particular yard. And who won this? Sorry, who won the other race?
It was Dan Mould.
Dan Mould. Oh, well, there we go. So maybe we're going to see. Well, we got an all Ignium 3rd and 4th row. So Stevenson, Denya, they're both in Hyundai. Where's the nearest Audi? 8th position, Scott Malcolm. So I want to see how many positions Scott jumps. I want to see how many positions Nick Clibben jumps because he does like a good start. And then, there's a couple of other Audis towards the back as well that we'll see probably jump. Right, so that's the end of quali.
Yep. So I'll just bring up the. If I can find my mouse cursor. There we go. I'll bring up the.
Yeah, I mean we've already got cars joining the grid as well, so I think this might be quite a quick start.
Right, so yep, just brought the grid up there, and hang on, sorry, one that, like I said, it's one of them nights tonight. So yep, we've got Dan Moulding first, John Brown in second, and then Enignium Lockout in the second row with Neil in third and Ben in fourth, Mark Brown fifth, Craig Walters in sixth, Daniel Wareham seventh, Scott Malcolm eighth, Andrew McKinley in ninth, and Derek Crowther in 10th. Nick Clibbins is in 11th position, Fraser Garrity in 12th, and the overlay's not moving. David Smith in 13th, Al Brown 14th, Stuart Gibbons 15th, Ryan Dudley 16th, and last on the grid in 17th position is
excellent
John.
Excellent. So let's get the cameras on the starts. I think we've got some guys hopping in and out of cars, and we can see the insignia car on the front, Dan Mould. I think we're just waiting for Mark Brown to join the grid, maybe in the number 4 machine, in the number 4 Honda. As you can see with this circuit, it's a bit of a motorsport park circuit. There isn't actually barriers, so if you go off the track, you can end up in the pits, which is all a bit unfortunate. Bit of flashing the lights there from the car in the second row. That's one of the Ignium cars.
That's Neil.
You'll be able to tell the difference because one has a boot, one hasn't got a boot, which is probably quite good actually, because there's a lot of similar sort of liveries on the grid today. I feel like I should wait for Barney to wave the flag.
Yeah, we've still got, again, this will go to the 2 minutes because, as you say, there was one of us, a Rob, during this session as a driver, not a spectator.
Yeah, who's that? Who's taking the win in that?
Sorry, boys. So we got about 5 seconds
another
left.
Flash. And another flash from the Denny machine.
Yep, so as the lights come on there now, so it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and away they go.
Bit of a wheel spin at the back, and I'm guessing that's going to be an Audi somewhere. Yes, there we go. We can see the Simtech car shooting up. Scott Malcolm has made places as well. Bit of a jockey as they try to get to the outside of turn number 1. And there's a bit of a bump there from one of the Cope Brown machines into the Ignium car of Stevenson. Welcome back, Neil. We've already got a bit of contact already, and we can see Neil just tucking himself up behind John Brown now. Try to assert a little bit of early race dominance through the quick flick. That is, I think, T number 3. And I don't think we've seen anyone in the gravel there, which is quite easy to do on cool tyres. Everyone's racing the same setup. Everyone's in a sprint setup today. So bit of a alternate line. I think Neil just lost it under braking a little bit. One of the Code Brown cars machines on the inside. Neil won't have seen the Code Brown livery before, but he will certainly have raced these guys some many races before. And they're just coming round to the back end of the circuit now, which is a couple of little flicks.
Yep, just as we look at the events, David Smith actually crashed on the first lap, so I don't know if he just slightly ran wide, and that's dropped him down 4 places into 17th position. But the biggest gainer off the start was Nick Clibbins, who gained 3 positions.
And Mark Brown absolutely chucks it through the last corner there. This is now side by side. Goes the Clibbins machine with the... is that an Andrew... Yes, it is Andrew McGinley machine. Yep. We haven't seen Andrew change paints recently, which is interesting, but they go into turn number 1. Andrew looks like he's got that pretty much sealed on the inside line. A bit wide from Scott Malcolm there, and that's just allowed the exits to open up for Andrew McKinley. And that's going to force Scott just to go a little bit defensive, and then Andrew McKinley go defensive as Nick Clibbins tries to look up the inside. They're all a little shocking about here, trying to change their line a little bit. There's a little bit of a time up through the gravel, as I think that was one of the India cars just touched the gravel a little bit. And now you can see Mad, which is the Malcolm Audi in front.
That's right. It's nice to see Scott back in his usual Audi there. It's wasn't quite the same when he wasn't in that for me.
Looks like Craig Walters just trying to reignite a bit of a battle with Neil Stevenson. These guys have a bit of a form. I think 2 seasons in a row they were pretty much 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 reversed for the championship standings in season 1, season 2 Tanso TCR championship. So it's good to see these guys back on circuit together racing away. And it's a bit of a sandwich from Craig Walters at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like Craig's in a new livery there. The blue looks a bit of chrome on there now, which I think looks nice. Just gives a bit of a difference to it.
Looks like Derek Crowther's been getting the old spec map out. Speaking of Derek Crowther, he's down 7th position, having a bit of trouble. So I think he's just been in and out of the pits. I'm not quite sure what has happened to Derek.
Yep, Derek. He entered pits. I wonder if he got a drive-through.
We did see a little bit of smoke quite early, didn't we? So yeah, he potentially got a bit of a drive-through as well. David Smith, we know, had a crash. JC Johnson still, yeah, he's still circulating around. Dan Mould has checked out as expected behaviour. The big question about Dan is he going to be able to put a lap on some of these boys? That's going to be quite interesting from him.
Yeah,
John Brown currently second.
That's right. Sorry, Rob.
So we got Brown in second and third position. Stevenson fourth. Fifth is Craig Waters, and Ben Denyer just losing out a couple of spots on his return to the series. Sixth position.
Yeah, so we actually missed Craig passing Ben Denyer and Mark Brown passing Neil. So while they're just line astern at the moment, we'll just go back and look at Mark as he got past Neil. I think it's... so it's coming deep into the brakes. Neil just broke too much, lost all his momentum, and allowed Mark to get past him there.
Excellent. So that's fantastic. And just trying to look behind as well, just to try and get his own back maybe. Yeah, see if there's a quick return. Yeah, just a little lunge up the inside now. Well, that's quite fair. The new car did slide wide, let him back into it. And that's a fantastic position gained.
Yep, and also on the events, you've seen Derek Crowther has crashed off as well. He's jumped to the pits. So if we just have a quick look at that, with everyone on the track, apart from Andrew and Scott, they're quite close. We'll just keep an eye on that, actually.
So, yeah, well, Derek's first feature race has gone from bad to worse, which is a bit of a shame. And he's, looks like he's in the pits. Probably going to skip the rest of this one, I think. We can see McKinley on Scott Malcolm. These guys have history. They know each other quite well. It was Scott Malcolm that brought Andrew McKinley to this championship. So these guys are going to enjoy racing against each other. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons Scott brought them to this championship. Because he thought it's a place where if you're going to learn TCR racing, these are a good bunch to learn it under, because you're all in the same channel. You all have a little bit of banter, a little bit of a laugh. No one really gets out of hand. And it's a good place to be, Rob.
It certainly is. That's very right. We both sampled the racing skills of these in a couple of seasons past, haven't we? And yeah, they're thoroughly enjoyable.
Especially this Audi on screen, because I'm pretty sure this circuit in one of the SRL, which is a forerunner to Tanso, he actually beat me on the finish line by about 0.01 seconds. I never mention it. He'll be distraught to hear me mention it, in fact. But yeah, so it's we all know this track quite well. Some better than others. I think you've won here.
I did. I was just about to say, was that the same race? It was actually, unfortunately, it was a test race. It wasn't a proper championship race. But yeah, I managed to come home first. Against all odds, basically. Everyone else crashed out, I think. But yeah, it's I'll still take it. A win's a win.
So we're watching Brown, Stevenson, Craig Waters, and the rest of the train now on the screen as we saw them come through the early section of the circuit into the corners and into the big tight hairpin as well. And we can see a couple of different lines. And well, the result of that is that currently Mark's backing up Neil Stevenson in the 16 machine and Craig Waters in the 007 machine. And out behind that again, is Denyer, and we've still got Malcolm with McKinley looking around after him. So still line astern at the minute. Yes, this is another chap we've not mentioned in a while, Daniel Wareham. This is the only Matrix machine, I think, here today.
Yep, there is just the one Matrix today, so no glitches today.
No, we have. This is. I think we saw two last round. I think it's always good to see one. We are missing a few people. We talked about Callum Garton as well, but yeah, we are missing a few people this time. But we're boosted by a few returns as well, which is always nice to see. We're looking at Nick Clibbins, who is still in 11th position. I think he gained a few and dropped a few.
He did, yeah. He was
when he dropped
3 places up, but he's obviously dropped 3 places as well now. So not quite sure when that happened. Can't even see it on the events list.
I think we missed a bit of a jostle up front because Neil Stevenson's got past Mark Brown. So I think we should probably take a look to see how that happened, because we did miss that on camera.
Jump back to that now.
So it looks like a bit of an off track for Mark Brown, and worst place as well, just at the start-finish straight. That's an easy completion for Neil Stevenson, who makes his way back up into the podium positions. And the question is, will Craig Waters try the same again? Maybe not this lap, maybe next lap.
Yep, it's Craig looked quite close, but obviously going into turn 1, he dropped back a bit there, and the gap now is a second behind him. So,
yeah, and I think we've got a bit of side by side with Mr. McKinley.
That's right, with Fraser who's not got the best of connections at the moment, and keeps blinking away, so that'll make it a bit more awkward. Just as we see Daniel look down the inside there, follow.
Well, that's as close as you can get to someone without having to go to body shop from Mr. Clibbins on Daniel Warren. But that was all just as a compression for the entry into that corner from Andrew McKinley, who I think has got a little bit of freight trains. And this is all kicking off late in the race now.
That's right. Tyres are warming up now, getting up to temperature. Everyone's feeling the rhythm, getting into the routine, and maximising the potential of all the cars.
So Denya's switched on. Now Denya wants to start to go forward. We can just see him lining up Neil Craig Waters, who is the back, who's turned into kind of the start of that little train, really. So I would say Scott Malcolm's not far off being fully engaged on the back of Denya. He will be looking to get his way through as well. And we've got the blink of Fraser Garrity.
That's right, yeah. And as we see, like I said, Dan's out in front. John Brown's managed to pull away. Neil's also got a second now over Mark. And Mark himself has got near enough a second over Craig. So Craig is the little cork in the bottle as we head down the start-finish straight again towards turn number 1.
And he's probably had a bottle by now. I've got another stat for you, Mr. Jackson. As we see Craig just look defensive and then realise he doesn't really need to go defensive for turn number 1. Summit Point last season, which was round number 7, was Fraser Garrity's first ever win.
Yeah,
that's dropped your jaw, isn't it?
Yep, it certainly has.
Yep, that's amazing. Well, it was a long time coming. He's won a few since, so he's really found his groove in the Tanso League. Talk about finding his groove. That's not really a very good groove to leave in the gravel from Nick Clibbins. He just took a little bit too much to the curb and pushed him outside. And back into his distance is Fraser Garrity. We saw a massive blink from him then. And it looks like Craig it does look weird seeing him in that car, I must admit. He needs to be back in an Audi. Craig. He's just looking to fend off Ben Denyer again for the towards the end of another lap, which will be his 8th lap, I believe.
Yep, just coming down now to start their 8th lap. Sorry, just coming up to the final corner now. It's quite a good corner when you hit this one well. You carry quite a bit of speed through it, run slightly wide onto the curbing, and then keep your foot down flat for the long run down into turn 1.
Snake down the start finish to try and break the air of the car behind, and always remember that there is a bit of a dodgy pit exit there, which can cause a bit of chaos. It looks like Craig Wallace just takes a little bit of a pinch line there just to say to Ben Denyer, don't even try for a late one under the brakes, and he's looking like he's going to get quite close to Mark Brown in the next couple of corners.
Yep, if we just shoot back to the back, we've got Al Brown. He was under a bit of pressure there from Ryan Dudley. I think Ryan's changed his car as well. He's in the Veloster. So you got a little three-way battle here, even for 12th, 13th and 14th position.
And who are they chasing? That's quite a good paint, actually. That's Stuart Gibbons, who we don't see a lot on camera, to be fair. That's a new paint for him. I'm pretty sure I see Stuart Gibbons in a red paint, so it's fantastic to see he's changed it up a little bit. It's a little funky Gibbon number.
So he just needs like a little monkey on there, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we can see that Al Brown, Brian Dudley's plus 2 positions. I think they're all gained through the early race mistakes from Derek Smith and Derek Crowther. So we're back with the Andrew McKinley. And Rob, we saw Andrew McKinley have quite a good start, and he's just dropped back a little bit from the back of Scott Malcolm. And we're side by side as we go into T number 1. I think it's lap number 9 or 10 maybe. And this is Craig Waters, just doesn't manage to get it stopped. Code Brown machine had a Code Brown moment, just tucks back in line. He doesn't want Denny to get a run on him into the hairpin.
Nope, but that could open it up for Ben there. He could have a nice run up.
This isn't a corner you want to stick your nose in, really. It's quite high speed, high commitment, and the runoff is pretty brutal if you get it wrong, as we've seen with Clibbins today. But this is the section, just lights it up a little bit, and then you're into a tight left-hander. It's all nicely cambered, as some of these motorsport circuits are quite nicely cambered. So, lap number 10 in, we were looking on the back from Mark Brown's Honda towards the Elantra of Ben Denyer, and this is the 3 that's currently in 4th, 5th and 6th position. Now we look further back to the train where Fraser Garrity is backing up Andrew McKinley. Bit of a touch from Malcolm, bit of a tank slapper, and he looks like he's exited hard left, and the Matrix machine just managed to save that and I think he's had a ding. I don't know if he's got a meatball. I don't know if he's... Yeah, I know he's still running, still pointing straight. For a second, I thought he was going towards the pits, and I didn't realise that the pits weren't there. So
I think
that was on Malcolm.
I think Scott was actually... Yep, he's parked up on the side there.
Yeah, well, you don't have to watch him there. You have to watch him there, Scott. That might be a good one to see on board, actually.
Yep, well, I'll go back and we'll watch that one on board. Oh, it's not...
It's not playing well. I think if we go back live, we should be able to see a bit of chaos, because I think Denyer and Brown are having at it at the moment for 5th position. And yeah, we can go. They're just... It looks like Denyer's got the move done on Brown. Brown's just trying to show the inside as well. It looks like this is not over. But I think Ben took a little bit of patience to get past, to get that move done then, because he has been sizing them up for the last few laps.
Yep, just looking back on the event list, and it was Mark past Ben, Ben past Mark, Mark back past Ben, and then Ben finally past Mark, and he's slightly gapped him there now to the tune of half a second.
Right, I'm just wondering actually if Ben's just been looking after his tyres a little bit better than Mark Brown, because we have seen Mark Brown sliding around quite a bit. Scott Malcolm has left the pits. He's had his toes finished. Naturally, there are faster pairs in this league, so he's rejoined. Looks like he's going to get a little few more minutes to complete a few more laps. We are expecting this race to go to 16 laps. I think we've got about 4 laps left, maybe 3 laps or 4 laps plus 1 or 3 laps plus 1. We'll see.
4 laps. We're on currently on lap 12. As we see Dan, he's way out in front there now. He's got a 4-second gap over John behind him.
And we saw earlier, Andrew McKinley was at the start of that train. I want to see the result of that train now, because Fraser Garrity, it's all a little bit spaced out from that little incident. Daniel Worm's recovered. He's currently 10th position, down 3 from start. But he is about half a second off of Nick Clibbins in the Simtech Audi. And this looks like it might be the closest fight on the track, Rob.
At the moment, we've got Ryan Dudley and Al Brown side by side. I
would certainly clarify that as fights. This is on between the green SRL machine and the Velastar of Ryan Dudley, and in the back, Stuart Gibbons, who I think actually might have dropped 2 positions. Is that Stuart or is that no? That's Scott Malcolm, isn't it?
No, it's Scott, yeah.
So yeah, this is very much the Brown versus Dudley, and I think Dudley will look quite racy. I think it's time, Rob, to go on board.
That's right, yeah. Just great minds think alike. I was just about to hit the button. And see how it looks like he gets a good exit there as we see Pennywise the Clown, poking out the rear of Al Brown's car. So Ryan there gets in the draft of Al, and he's running down to T1. He's going down the outside. And see Al comes up the inside, holds the inside line. Just pushes Ryan slightly to the left-hand side, and manages to keep his nose in front. But then, I can't even speak here. Ryan's got the inside here now for turn 3 left-hander, and he manages to make it stick and stay out in front. And
talking about in front, I think Stuart Gibbons just touched the grass a little bit, so that's going to lose a little bit of time from him. But it's looks like successful move completion from Ryan Dudley. Now it's going to be Al Brown's turn to look to return the favour, I should think. But that, ladies and gentlemen, that's Tanso TCR racing for you. That's room being left and given. It was fantastic racing for these 2 guys.
Yeah, you're right there, Rob. Everyone here is quite respectable. Respect each other.
I don't know that. No. Respectable. That's not first on the thesaurus for these guys, I don't think. I think we might just ask them in the interview later, sir, are you respectful? And I think they might put up a fight for that one. But they are respectful of each other on track.
Most
of the time, 99% of the time. These any altercation or incident doesn't have to go to a 5-panel kangaroo court. It's all sorted out on the day, which is fantastic to see. So, lap 14 as we go through the kink, we are looking at the Honda livery of the Honda car of Andrew McKinley, who saw a win on his debut race last round, and he's just trying to line up Mark Brown, who has dropped down a little bit, just 1 position, but he was, I think, in 3rd position for quite a lot of the race.
So Andrew there is closing the gap on the, I think they call it the carousel, don't they, that one?
If it's a corner with more than 90 degrees, they call it the carousel in America. It seems to be like a centre S everywhere else in the world, doesn't it?
That's the one.
Just a little bit wide from Mark Brown. That will drag him on to the grass, and it'll be tough to get off, and it's on quite a high-speed combination corner as well. His outside tyres will be a little bit colder than normal, so he seems to be flicking in. A bit of a wide entry from Fraser Garrity there. And McKinley will just try to get a toe down here. And we'll see what happens in the first corner, Rob.
Yep, he's. You think he might be a bit too far back. Sorry, there to actually make a proper lunge. But then again, he could be quite confident on the brakes, as I say that he brakes early. Maybe. Going
I think he's braking early just to set Mark up a little bit later around the corner. I think he's using his brain, which normally is removed when you get into a TCR car, but Andrew McKinley seems to be using it quite well for quite a good effect, and he's now, as a result, at the kink. And again, drops off early, tries to get the run through. And there you go. This seems to be kind of working out for Andy McKinley because for a start, he's not hitting the car in front, which is a bonus. And secondly, it gives him an option late on the straight.
That's right. Like you say, they're driving smart and using the grey matter between your ears just to try and outmaneuver, like a chess game, your opponent in front.
And this corner, as we see it on board now, look how much lock is on that car in front around those right-handers. There's a lot more lock on that car in front than there was on Andrew McKinley's car. And I think we saw that quite early with Ben Denyer just working on his tyres a little bit, and that's why he was able to just save his tyres, get a little bit more speed. I think Mark Brown might be hammering his tyres a little bit.
And as they both come out the final turn now, as Andrew, if he got a slightly better drive than Mark, which I think they're both similar there, as you see Mark pull to the right-hand side of the track to try and break the draft, but Andrew there trying to stick behind him.
Right, the way I see this is 16th lap, so we need to go back to the least mentioned person in the entire race, Dan Mould, because he's currently out in the lead, and I think this might be the white flag.
It's there's only 30 seconds left of the race session, so as we keep an eye on Dan now as he comes round the left-hander up towards the carousel.
Yeah, maybe one more time. I think he is actually 5.5 seconds ahead of John Brown, Neil Stevenson. John Brown's having a very strong season 3, I think. And Neil Stevenson, he's back near the podium again. So as he flicks through the last couple of corners for the lap, we'll just see on the right-hand side what Barney's doing.
Let's see if we just jump on board, might be able to have a better clearer view. Not sure.
Yeah, so that's it. You can see he weaves to the left-hand side, or the right-hand side of the circuit for me, the left-hand side for you, of the circuit. Dan Mould takes the heats race win in round number 7. And second position is John Brown, Co-Brown Machine. Third position, the return of Craze, is Neil Stevenson. Fourth position, Walder's. Fifth position is Daniel swerving around. There is a car taking a very big diversion on the grass.
Yeah,
everyone else looks to be finished in 6th position, look like Brown, McKinley, Garrity, Nick Clibbins, who was on the grass, and Daniel Wareham we're seeing side by side with Ryan Dudley. So this race is heating up again. And well, he got malcolmed, frankly, with Dudley taking the 11th position, Wareham taking the 10th position on the line, followed home by Stuart Gibbons, Rob, who I think we missed, dropped 2 positions.
I'm just trying to see. I've not seen anything changing where Stuart got overtaken.
So David Smith over the line, 14th position from the yellow SRL machine. And we're just looking at JT Johnson, I believe, is the last of the runners.
That's right, yeah. JT, he comes home in 15th position.
And that looks like that's the last of the finishers, Rob. So we'll get the results up on screen momentarily.
Yep, there we go. So we've got the results are up on screen there now. So it's just final confirmation that Dan Mould... Oh, sorry, no, that's qualifying results. If we just change them to the race results. So yeah, confirmation, Dan Mould in first position, John Brown in second, and Neil Stevenson third, finishing off the podium. Craig Walters in fourth, Ben Denyer fifth, Mark Brown sixth, Andrew McKinley in seventh, Fraser Garrity in eighth, Nick Clibbins in ninth, and the top 10 rounded out by Daniel Wareham. Ryan Dudley 11th, Al Brown 12th, Stuart Gibbons 13th, David Smith 14th, JT Johnson in 15th, and Scott Malcolm in 16th position, with Derek Crowther in 17th, and some numpty in 18th position.
Right, so order of proceedings now. We've got a 5-minute warm-up for the drivers just to have a bit of a chat about how the last race went, but we will be going into a 12-place reverse grid. So your winner, Dan Mould, will go back to 12th position to start off with, and 12th position, Al Brown, will go to first position. So we're going to go on hold for a little bit, which we will be advertising the SRL GT4 Championship, which will be coming on alternate Fridays. So we'll see you in a few minutes for the feature race.
So welcome back, viewers. Just as you can see there now on the screen, we've got the provisional points after the first race of the evening. So as we can see there, Dan Mould is jumped up to first position from the on the table with the 40 points from the race win. Now, I do think they do give bonus points for pole position as well. So these are just provisional, just to give us all a rough guide of what's going on with it being a penultimate round of the season. And you see John Brown there as well. He's jumped up to second in the table, just 9 points in front of Cal, who is, like I say, unfortunately missing this race. And yeah, so the warm-up session is just finished now. So I think Rob's back, and we'll run through the grid for the final race.
Yeah, I think we've got a few people on grid as well. I think if we look down at some of the guys who've joined the grid already, we'll be able to see the starts take shape. Trying to see if there's anyone who was in the last race that isn't in this race. I'm trying to use my considerable brain. That's a joke. To try and find that, we can see some people joining now. I think we can see all the people joining now. I think we'll just we'll be waiting for a few seconds yet because of someone who won't be joining the grid. So we can see them revving. So Al Brown is pole position. Ryan Dudley, it's good to see him up this end of the grid. That's the kind of fun a reverse grid can give. Nick Clibben's in full position. He's going to be looking for this as well, I should imagine. I can hear some chirpy turbos, which tells me it's a 2-litre touring car grid. Right, bit of a flashing lights from one of the insignia cars at the back, and we haven't mentioned the word insignia. I think long shot, because we're almost at the start. We can see a little bit of a puff of green, and there's a little bit more green now because one of the green cars is on the green grass, and we're all funneling 5 wide. Well, Clibbin started their first race like he finished the last one, really, on the grass for a considerable amount of time. And we're all going down into the first grid, into the first corner. Mark Brown goes in hot, goes in wide on entry, and Ryan Dudley secures second position. I think Daniel Wareham has just dropped a few, so maybe he's got a little bit shuffled backwards. John Brown as well, and Derek Crowther, who is back after a poor first race. It looks like he's having a few position changes as well, but we'll see how it shakes out, Mr. Jackson.
Yep, that's right. That was a storming start by Mark Brown there. He's gained 6 positions in that one lap alone. And the worst start was Daniel Wareham, who's dropped down 4 positions. Oh, sorry, tell a lie. Nick Clibbins dropped down 11 positions.
Yes, so we saw him. He decided to take the same line that he finished race 1 in. This is actually, we've got 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 17th are all Audis. So this isn't the way Audi start. As we see one of the Code Brown machines get back on the grass, and that's John Brown, just rejoins in front of Scott Malcolm and David Smith. Now he's going to drop a few positions as well. So I think we're going to catch them cross the line for the end of lap number 1, as we see one of the Ignium cars just try to show the inside. Well, lap 1, Mark Brown in the lead. We've not seen, I don't want to curse this, we've not seen any crashes so far. It's all just jockeying for positions. I think there's a little bit of a yellow car on the grass back there. That's David Smith maybe. And yeah, so second lap is pretty much like the first. Mark Brown, as we're going side by side towards the back of the grid. Further forward, there's the Ignium versus Insignia cars. And they're side by side, followed by the 2 SRL machines, or if that's one of the Matrix machine maybe. And that looks like Craig Walters. And it looks like Neil Stevenson just dipped out of that and just want to take the race to 9 a little bit. Right, so we're just going to give our timing software a bit of a kick. So you might see that disappear from the screen, and then it shall return. So I shall talk you through what's going on, blindly, I should imagine. We're looking at Neil Stevenson, who's currently in 10th position at the moment. Mark Brown still out in the lead, plus 6 positions. We saw an amazing start from a car that was an Audi. And Alan Brown currently 3rd position. Ryan Dudley still 2nd position. And we're just seeing Neil Stevenson just create a little bit of a gap. With Scott Malcolm, I think, closing him in. Looking at Malcolm's last lap was 130.67, 129.1 from Neil Stevenson. So we should see how this shapes out. We're going to start to see the tyres come into play a little bit now in lap number 2. And we can see the side-by-side car of Wareham and Dan Mould. So Dan Mould currently, after a couple of laps, is plus 4 position, 8th position. And we're still looking at Neil as he goes into turn number 1. There's no change ahead between Merrim and Wald. There is a bit of a change ahead between McKinley and Denya. I think Denya was the one that gained from that. Plus 3 positions, 5th position from Ben Denya. And while we're restarting the software, you can see they're just bouncing over the curves for the 3rd lap. And it just looks a little bit line astern at the moment, waiting for someone to make a mistake. Craig Walters, I think, has been the chap that's made the mistake because he's had an off. But I don't think I saw him have a crash. So we'll go back and find that, I think, in a few minutes. Right, Rob Jackson's finished fighting the Matrix, not the one on the track. He's finished fighting the one in the computer box.
Yep, sorry about that.
Computer box flights. No problem. Right, so now we actually can see Neil Stevenson have a bit of a fight with a car in front, and I think there's a bit of stuff going on with Dan Mould ahead and Andrew McKinley. Now, I've been looking forward to seeing Andrew McKinley and Dan Mould have at it since the last round because Andrew does like a bit of a fight, Rob.
Yep, well, we saw them, didn't we, at Okayama on the last lap, have a bit of a come together, and Andrew, quite, I'd say aggressively, but he had his elbows out ready to fight the position for Dan. As we see Dan get past him there with a slight bit of damage on his rear quarter.
I remember, actually, in the last race, I think it was the feature race of last round, they had a little bit of a touch in Okayama that resulted in Dan going off. And this is the best way in the world. The best way to welcome yourself to the championship is if you hit someone off, to let them back past again. And that's what Andrew did. So I think everyone in that Discord channel quite liked that he did that, which is a good way to integrate yourself with the guys, really. And so, yeah, hopefully we should be able to see some good racing from these guys, which are 2 Hondas, following a couple of Hyundais. And yeah, this should be hotting up, I think, over the next few laps. No change at the front. Mark Brown still out. We have seen Fraser Geraghty get past Ryan Dudley. I don't know if we saw that on camera. I don't think so. We might go back and watch that a little bit later. But this is the Ryan Dudley, the Hyundai machine, and the Al Brown Denyer Mould trio will be working to catch as we see Mould go to the inside of Denyer. These guys, former teammates, and they're going to, yeah, it looks like they're going to make turn 1 a little bit more enjoyable for us to view.
That's right. His Dan goes, like I said, down the inside. He uses Al Brown in front.
Yeah, looks like a twofer as well. He had to change his line midway through the corner. It looks like he's gained traction, got it out, and now we're going to see a little bit of a bustle of touring cars.
So as they go in side by side to the left-handed kink, and yeah, gave each other nice and room, but with Dan, he got the run out there, and unfortunately, Al, he just dropped some momentum.
So Denyer's got a Barrison Richards really all the way through there. He had a choice of which car he needed to follow through. That little battle has backed up, and now Neil Stevenson. Oh, I just had a little bit of a touch there from Andrew. I don't think he saw him just stick his nose inside really, and he got it bitten off a little bit, and that's dropped him back. And it's a battle for the ages now. It's Stevenson versus Malcolm. This goes back years. These guys have been racing together for many, many years in touring cars, and this might reignite. On the back of that is the matrix of Daniel Wareham. I'm starting to get the Wareham and Al Brown cars mixed up because they're a little bit green, a little bit black as well. And
yeah,
I'm very old and very
similar,
blind. Yeah. Ben Denny's showing up the inside now of Al Brown into turn number 1. And we're seeing side by side. This might get done, I think. I think we're still having when SDK problems start, they tend to continue. So hopefully we'll be able to get you. We'll get you as much of the battle as we can, as we're looking at McKinley. And it's a bit of an ignium swarm at the moment around Al Brown. He's just sort of shuffling himself, trying to make it clean. Stevenson has a little bit of a touch. I think Stevenson's on a bit of grass, and this is all getting a little bit spicy.
Yep, but it's, and you've got 6 cars here altogether. Just as we see Daniel Wareham just slightly get heavy on the brakes, and his back end spat out a bit. So Scott there's right tucked up behind Andrew, and they're tucked up behind Neil, who is all over the back of Al Brown, who is becoming cork in the bottle now because Ben's just slightly checked out and he's gapped him now by a good second.
So the secret of the reverse grid is, if you're a slower car, is to shuffle back as slow as you can. Al Brown's currently doing that all right. We are 6 laps in, he's gone 5 places back, and he's not letting them off lightly, I think, because he is defending from Neil Stevenson now. Neil Stevenson just tried to go a little bit checkmate.
You say that there, Rob, but currently Al Brown is saying he's up 8 positions to me, up 7 positions now as Neil just gets his nose in front of him.
SDK shenanigans. I've been counting my fingers, Rob. I'm pretty accurate on the numbers.
There we go.
As you see Al Brown just slide inside Neil Stevenson, welcome back. And there's a little bit of contact from Scott Malcolm behind as he didn't check up fast enough and just hit Andrew at the back, and that's allowed Daniel Wareham just to get alongside and through. And this is, yeah, that kicked off for momentarily. I think the biggest loser for that was easily Neil Stevenson on his return to the championship.
That's right. It's like I said, he lost all momentum, pushed out wide, and because the cars are in a nice row.
Oh, sorry, we have missed one. Mark Brown, we've just seen facing the drivers, oncoming drivers, and that looks like a big crash. He was in the lead, and I think he might have been fighting Fraser Geraghty. So here we go, side by side. Looks like this Geraghty bounces the curbs. Yeah, but he just bounced the curbs, hopped out, walked into Brown. Bit of a contact when Mark Brown was unloaded, that turned him, and then yeah, finished the job, got it done. There's going to be a little bit of a damage on Fraser Geraghty. That's an unfortunate incident because Mark Brown was looking good for the reverse grid, and that's an Insignia 1-2 that's left us with.
Yep, it's 1-2 there, like you say. Ryan Dudley there's tucked away in third. He's 3/4 of a second behind Dan. Yeah, it's a shame Derek's just not further up. Then we could have had an Insignia 1, 2, 3.
Brilliant. To be honest with you, I think there's quite a few paints here that are Derek's. Between Derek and John Brown, I think he's probably got most of the grid covered, really, for bragging rights. Ryan Dudley's the remaining person in the reverse. I know Fraser was in the reverse grid, wasn't he? But Ryan Dudley was pretty much on the second row. So he's the remaining one that's holding it out at the front, which is a fantastic job from the Velostar driver. Right, have we missed anything else? John Brown's had a bit of a mare. He's dropped down currently in ninth position, being quite quiet for him, sat behind Scott Malcolm. That's probably quite a safe place to be stuck behind, to be honest, because all the chaos appears to be happening in front of Scott Malcolm. But there are a few cars behind John. Derek Crowther, one of them. Neil Stevenson recently appeared is another one. And then Nick Clibbins, who we saw on the grass at the start-finish straight. He's currently sat in 12th position, bringing up the rear of this little fight. He'll be in a good little seat, hoping everyone ahead gets their elbows out, crashes, and gives him free spots. We can see the two cars of Al Brown, followed by Daniel Wareham. Mr. Jackson?
Yep, it's definitely Al's the slight cork in the bottle at the moment on this track, but like you said, the aim is to go back as slow as possible, which he's doing a fine job of that at the moment. Again, not meaning in a disrespectful way there. It was a backhanded compliment somewhere in there.
That is fine, mate. Just pedal yourself back out of that one. So we did see a side-by-side of Code Brown machine, John Brown and Scott Malcolm, I think. Scott Malcolm has shown himself to maybe look on the inside. It's a shame that corner is such a flow one, really, because it does sort of present you with the ability to dive bomb, really, but it doesn't do anyone any favours if you dive bomb, which is a shame. But it does allow you to step back up for the left-hander coming up now. I think we'll stay on board for this because it's quite a tight, cambered section of corners.
Yeah, it certainly is, and with these being front-wheel drive cars, you mentioned earlier about cars having major lock-on. If you put too much lock-on and put too much pressure on your right foot, it can just eat away at your front tyres as well.
You see there, they just try and open up for these two flown right-hand corners. Use a bit of exit curve, and you can see the cars snaking along. And I think Scott Malcolm's going to be hung out to dry a little bit for this one. We can see the three cars in front are checking up and sort of getting themselves ready for something, really. And just Malcolm's just sort of out of it a little bit.
As you say that, he's actually closed the gap up on John. He must have had a great exit out of the final turn. So he just gets himself alongside now, again, coming up into T1. So, like I said, it's a good slow corner where you can really get heavy on the brakes as you hear a bit of contact there. I think Daniel Wareham and Al Brown might have just touched ever so slightly, as we see.
And we can see a 3x2 at the minute with two people auditioning behind to want to get involved in this. Yeah, well done, Mr. Malcolm. Clearly, I've had that completely wrong, which is on my neck bit. But yeah, this is still quite spicy, I think, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, it's again, like I said, good old Tanso, never disappoints. Everyone can drive quite close to each other, have some great battles, and yeah, just have fun as well in the meantime while they do it. We
need more sends though. I haven't seen enough sends recently in the TCR, which is a bit of a shame. It is a slight addiction I have watching them, to be fair. So you can help. Further front, Brian Dudley has been caught by Ben Denyer. And Ben Denyer is on course to having a podium on his return to the series, if he can get past Ryan Dudley. And I have another stat for you, Mr. Jackson. He's had 8 podiums in Tango so far. That's 8 podiums. I have all the stats, literally all of them. I think Al Brown has had a bit of a mare further back, as we see Ben Denyer go up the inside, go around the outside of Ryan Dudley. Good defence from Ryan Dudley at the moment. They are still side by side. Well, there's everyone else late for work on a Monday morning, as they pile their repmobiles into turn number 1 on the 11th lap.
So, see, John Brown there's managed to get in front of Al Brown. So, Al Brown will now be at the mercy of Scott Malcolm, as we see he just goes through and pushes Daniel Wareham slightly wide, which, again, that's quite a good rejoin.
Yeah, good save for rejoin. Oh, and then a bit of a tap as well, where he absolutely sent that one under the bus. They're still off, and Neil Stevenson. Well, we've seen Neil. Yeah, we've seen Neil be absolute passenger to some accidents in this championship, and that's another one to add to the repertoire. It can just change in a snap of an eye. We saw in the first race, Scott Malcolm was the recipient of a little hip check that sent him over the barriers into the trees. And yeah, this is the one where he just had nowhere to go, really. The guy hit him, or they came together. There was a bit of a deflection, and yeah, unfortunate rejoin from the Green Machine. And yeah, it looks like he collected the chasing cars, which is a bit of a shame. Hard defend there from Al Brown on Derek Crowther. How many times in Tanzo do we see these two guys fighting? Seems to be every week, because I seem to remember talking about it every other week, sorry. This is a fortnightly championship. And yeah, this hasn't changed so fast in the lap.
That's right. It's just, as we see, Al Brown there goes quite deep on the brakes, which just... He went in and opened the door up for Derek to come down the inside, which then puts him on the outside of this corner. So let's see who's got the biggest Oh,
Oh,
as we
just
see
a
Al
bit of
Brown.
contact. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how to do a throttle save from Derek Crowther. Because not only did he do a throttle save that saved his position or saved his car, is he got himself alongside and pinched Al Brown, which is a, yeah, he's had to drop back now, but that was a fantastic save from Derek Crowther. That's probably one of the best saves I've seen in Tanso for many, many, many rounds. And now he's just sticking himself up the inside. Derek Crowther is a bit feisty today.
Yep, he's. I think he looks like he's got his connection issue sorted as well. He's not blinking, or I should say, he's not flashing as much this race.
Not flashing, no. That was, I think that was Garrity in the other race, but yeah, we can always tell because Derek Crowther, he obviously does the insignia paints, and he saves the best spec map for himself. We've had this talk, and we're pretty sure he saves the best spec map for himself because it looks the best out of the 3 insignia cars. So, well, they've done half a lap side by side. Side by side, sometimes on the circuit, sometimes off the circuit. But this is good perseverance from Derek Crowther. We might be looking at doing one of the brakes. I think, Mr. Jackson, I've worked out that Derek Crowther's driving style is scare them off the apex. Yep. Because Al Brown's leaving all the room in the world, and now they go back to where it all started, back through the kink.
And these are actually the closest battle on track at the moment. Everyone else has got a second in between them, so it's all spread out now and calmed down.
You say, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure there's other cars on the circuit. This is where I want to be watching now. These guys are giving us a little bit of an exhibition now, showing us that, guy, you can go alongside each other and not murder each other over the corner. And this might now have been a successful move from Derek, because I think Al Brown's just dropped back a little bit, and it's just opening up to 3/4 of a second gap.
Yep, that's right. He's managed to, like I say, 3/4 of a second pulled out on Al Brown now. So, yep, he's. I think Al might have murdered his tyres after all that battling is done, trying to defend everyone in the run up to these final few laps.
Yeah, I want to just take a little look at the times of David Smith. His last lap, he's about, well, he's 4 point odd seconds off at the moment. There's a little bit of a gap. I don't think he's going to catch that in the next couple of laps. We've not mentioned for a while the chap that's in first position. Looks like it's on course for a Dan Mould lockout race 1, race 2, Mr. Jackson.
Yep, that's right. He's 2 seconds up on Fraser at the moment. So Insignia has still got their 1-2 podium. But yeah, he's lapping. His last lap was a 16:05. In Fraser's was a 16.3. So he's a third of a second quicker. Per lap, so you can just extend that lead and have a nice Sunday or Friday evening drive. And won't say too much too soon because we know anything can happen.
Let's face it. If he's this far ahead, I think we can curse him. As far as it can go, I think there's one person who will like us to curse him, and that's second position Fraser Garrity. Fraser does like a curse, young Fraser, and he does like to fight Dan Mould as well. So, but we'll happily talk about this. If Dan does get a back-to-back win, that will be his joint highest championship finish, I think. I think we need to look at Andrew McKinley, 5th position, because he is quite close to one of his cars. There we go. As he just does a nice little switchback on Ryan Dudley. I think Ryan's tyres might be sort of feeling the effects of quite a few laps now. And it looks like Andrew McKinley is up in the 4th position. And that looks like a pretty good move done from him. So Ryan Dudley, he's done. That's fantastic. I mean, he's still in top 5, and he's looking all right for a top 5, I think. And I don't think he's going to let Andrew McKinley get away with this.
No, it's like I said. Sometimes you're saying in race 1 about driving with your mind, with your brain. Sometimes it's better to let the car past, let them, get in front of you, and then use them to your benefit and get a bit of a tow from them. Yeah,
and certainly if you find that you're in a bad rhythm as well, it's not a bad thing to have. I wonder if John Brown will catch him by the white flag, Mr. Jackson. The white flag should be appearing now if we go back to Dan Mould. And we're going to see a Barney flashing. I think I did see a Barney. So we are on the white flag of the feature race. This will be the last lap of the penultimate round of Season 3 of the Tanso TCR Championship. I will say one last remark about Dan Mould, and that's the fact that through this championship, he has driven a Honda. And at the start of this championship, the Honda was dog poo. It was terrible. But Dan still persevered. He did find himself dropping down the order a little bit too far for his liking, but he still persevered. He still went through it. It looks like it's working off for him because he's really learned how to drive that car. iRacing have improved that car and the balance performance for that car, and it's looking like it's really paying dividends now because it's certainly a lot more even to the Hyundai and the Audi than it was at start. So just fantastic effort from him, and I think it's probably about time we join him, although Ryan Dudley is doing a really good defensive job against John Brown.
Yep, he's got John all over his back now, and like I said, he's just got to hold him off for the last couple of seconds and last couple of laps. As we'll jump to Dan now, though, as he's coming around.
So we're going to flick and
bend.
see Dan cross the line as he just styles it through the last corner, out of the last corner. It's a heat race win from Dan Mould, and now it's a feature race win from Dan Mould. Fantastic effort from himself. Plus 11 positions, he takes the win. Fraser Geraghty's Insignia teammate takes second position. We will go back to Ben Denyer because he's returned to the championship. He takes a podium in the same way his last race in the championship was a podium. And Andrew McKinley, I think, has taken fourth position. And who gets fifth, Rob?
Fifth position was Ryan Dudley. And then John Brown was in sixth position. Scott Malcolm in seventh. Derek Crowder in eighth. Al Brown in ninth. David Smith 10th. Nick Clibbins in 11th. Stuart Gibbons in 16th. And as we see Mark Brown just coming over the line now, he was the last of the cars on the lead lap. No, he wasn't, sorry, he was a lap down. And then we've got JT Johnson coming back round now, and Daniel Wareham behind him to finish off as the final runners.
So, looks like Ryan Dudley successfully held off John Brown for a top 5 in the reverse grid. I think that might be his highest result of the season. Andrew McKinley just misses out on the podium at the expense of Ben Denyer, who returns the championship into a podium. Fantastic from him, and then the Insignia cars in first and second position. We will see if there's anyone in the interview room who does want to join us. So we will pad for a little bit longer, Mr. Jackson, as we can see Daniel Wareham just smash up the cars a little bit. I think, actually, while we're doing this, we may as well see a replay of all the cars piling into turn number 1 at the end of the race, because they do like a crash in this championship.
So, as we load that up now.
I'm asking you to do wizard stuff here with SDK, Mr. Jackson. This is much appreciated. So this is what happens after the start finish. Oh, this is pretty tame. He just stops on the second, resets the pit.
Yeah.
With all the cars, my event viewer is going crazy with crashes. This person crashes, that person crashes, and we find the one person on the Tanso grid, probably for the entire week, who actually spools with a stop and resets. But this is a Code Brown machine.
Yep.
And that was a Code Brown machine, rather, as they're done. So we should see some good championship standings, Mr. Jackson.
Unfortunately, with SDK still misbehaving, I can't actually do that at this moment in time. So, yeah, unfortunately. Dan will obviously increase his lead at the front over Cal by another 40 points. So that'll take him 40 points further clear.
So what we can say is, because these we can actually do the ultimate get out clause, because if we don't want to use our fingers and toes for mathematics, and we don't want to sort of like say yes, this person has the championship or doesn't have the championship, we can use the magical words provisional results that make us get away with we don't know who's got the championship yet. But if there is no Callum and there is a Dan, and Dan's maximised points, and Callum didn't maximise points last week, it's pretty much looking towards Dan Mould for the championship. Obviously not confirmed yet, provisional results. See how we can get away with it. We have an interview. Right. Rob, put your best interview jacket on. And
No.
There you go. This is fantastic.
It's all on you, this, Rob.
Fantastic bit of backpacking. Right, we'll drag him in now. Hello, Mr. McKinley.
Hello.
You are live on C8 TV, please. How are you doing, sir? How did you enjoy that feature race?
Really interesting. That was more interesting than Okayama.
Okay. How do you find this circuit in comparison to Okayama?
It's a lot more challenging because there's way more. It's like Monaco, for example, because there's like a lot of turns and it really overheats the tires. So it's at the start it's like fine, but then once it gets further into the race, it wears off the tires quite a lot. So it's quite an interesting one, and you got to feel the rhythm of it.
Excellent. And you finished 6th in the first race, and you had a 4th position in the second race, and it was quite a late 4th position as well, I found. Had you raced TCRs around this circuit before?
I have, but it's been months ago since I last raced in a TCR like this before. I do
Excellent.
remember the track of it, but it's just adapting it to again.
And we saw you early in the first race racing against Mr. Jackson. How did that conversation go on comms?
Was that the incident, or?
I don't think legally we can talk about the incident, but
Okay.
let's talk about the
Right.
incident. Did you have a little bit of a side-by-side contact?
Yeah, there was a bit of side-by-side contact, but I may have to check over again. But all in all, I was just trying to be as patient as possible with these drivers because I'm not trying to be at the top of the league like Dan Mold, but it's also about finding the gap, but also just trying to have fun.
Fantastic. And that's absolutely the key way to be in Tanso, I believe. So, what we'll do now is in the next couple of weeks, we've got the final round of season number 3, and I believe it's at Watkins Glen. Will you be partaking?
Yes, it's quite an interesting track, Watkins Glen. I've raced in it before in a TCR, but it was a different version of the track. So I'm hoping if it turns out quite well, then I would really enjoy it.
Fantastic. And have you got anyone you would like to say hello and thank?
I would like to say hello to all the spectators. I think there probably wasn't that many spectators, but I would like to say hello to you guys as well for making this fantastic series. And I want to say a shout out to Team Result Closing for this.
So Mr. Carl Hardy team, I think, from the back of my brain. Fantastic. Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Angie McKinley. Congratulations on your results tonight, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much. You have a great time.
Cheers. Right, so we'll hold the air open for probably about a minute or so, just to see if anyone else appears in the meeting room. Sorry, not the meeting, the interview racing room, which is like a meeting room, but it's got coffee. Yes, Mr. Jackson. So we will actually talk about the drive of the day.
I think it's got to have to be Dan. You know, two race wins. Did I say that right? Yeah. It's got to be him, really, in my eyes. Yeah.
Excellent. We'll try not to tell him that just yet. But so that's obviously the ultimate choice. The ultimate choice is the guy that came home with the maximum results and absolutely dominated the race. I will look down the line. Automatically, having not seen him for a while, I will go towards Neil Stevenson, just out of complete bias. He had a third in the first race. However, the second race didn't go his way. I think he finished 16th, which is down the order, I think. But yeah, I think I'm going to go down as well. Absolutely dominating performance from the Insignia Honda. And yes, that's fantastic. So one bit of business, a shameless plug. Next week is the SRL GT4 Championship. You might have seen the flyer, the banner, up in between the races. There's a test race before the season starts, and it's at Brands Hatch GP, which is a fantastic circuit. Fixed setup, pretty much the same format to Tanso, which is a 20-minute heat race and a inverted 20-minute feature race. So if anyone's interested, the Discord link is in the description of this stream. So feel free to join the Discord. And likewise, if you want to turn up in the last round of TCR Championship as well, that's a pretty good way to go about doing it. Click on the link, join the Discord, say, hi, I want to join, let's go racing. Excellent. So, all to say then, it's fantastic racing today at Summit Point. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Watkins Glen.